Alright, welcome back. This is another video in our budget arena area, and it is going to be for the Bozeman. The reason why I chose the Bozeman. Now, before I said probably the best, cannon scatter volley chip you can pick up is the Hydra, and it's also decent at everything else too. Now, if we look at the Hydra real fast, the Hydra does have a full Intel seat, and it's got pilot seat, so it can have lots of uncon procs. It's maneuverable. Um, it's just an all-around good ship. It's got 2 universal slots. This is what most people consider the best ship in the Sea Store. I would argue that other than the Hydra, there is one other one that I feel is sneakily the best ship in the Sea Store, and that is the Bozeman. I would say it's probably number 2. The Hydra definitely has some things that outshine it, like the console that comes with it, which is a sick console. Don't get me wrong; it's one of the best pet. Don't think I'm running it here. So here, grab it. It is. I have 2 stuff. Way too much stuff. Ah, there it is. It's good. 20% increase cannon damage. Flight speed of hangar pets and targetable torpedoes. Great. So it's good for hangar pets. It's good for cannon builds. It has an unbelievably good clicky. And this in my opinion, is what sets this ship above. Is not only does it have a great console, it also has a great trait for hangar pets, and on top of that, it's just a strong ship. So it's got all 3. Most things we look at, most ships, we're going to put them into 2 categories. Whether they're a good platform or whether they have good secondary stuff. So an example is a good platform is the legendary D7 Intel battlecruiser. It is a great platform. It's probably one of the best ships in the game, hands down. This thing is an insane ship, but its trait's okay. Its legendary trait is okay. I mean, they're not bad, but I never use them. I don't even know what the console is that comes out. Or no, these don't. Legendary ships don't even have a console. But literally, it's a platform. So pick up this ship and you pick for the platform. How good the ship is itself. Versus something like the Excelsior. Okay, it's not a bad platform, but it's not great. It's a cruiser. It's a 4-4. It has some weird seating stuff, but its trait is really good. 35% beam damage when using fire at will, or any intelligence bridge officer ability. That includes surgical strikes. Or maybe you're not using surgical strikes. Maybe you're using like intel team and override subsystem safeties in a beam overload build. Oh, incredibly good. right there. Um, Also gives you some damage resistance. This is a good trait. More importantly, the console that comes on it is by far the best thing on the ship. The passives are good, higher crit severity, more energy damage, and its clicky is probably one of the most damaging clickies out there, especially in a beam overload or a fire at will ship, where you're running tons of beams. You click this, and all of a sudden, everything's dying on the screen. It is a massive kill button. So this is a ship that you would pick up, not because you want to fly it, although it's not bad to fly. Any ship is flyable. But you're picking it up for a really good console and a really good trait. And you're probably going to use those on other builds. Where the Bozeman, the trait isn't the greatest. It's not bad. It's a clicky trait. It can be really good. But 30-second recharge or 40-second recharge that you cannot reduce. And the console's okay too. Crit chance, crit severity, perception plays in PvP. A decent clicky. It's a nice little hold clicky with a little damage. Not a bad console. Both console and trait aren't bad. But you fly this because of the platform. First off, it's a Miranda class, which is an amazing style ship. Let's look at some of the options real quick on these Miranda class ships. They're incredible. So this is what the Bozeman normally looks like. I am using our stuff, so it's all Timidarified. But then you have your Miranda class, you got then Guardian class. Okay. Soyuz, which is probably my favorite look of the Miranda class. Use the Soyuz. Kind of just reminds me of like this gunship. I am not a fan of Jakar. I don't like the angle everything. The Reliance okay, but again, very angly on. Not a big fan of the Makashi or Clark version, but some people love them. Saratoga's actually. I love these things on the side here. They kind of look like laser cannon type things. You got your old school Miranda, which old school is good. This is probably one of my. But let's go back to Soya. So, Miranda, nice thing about it, obviously a popular design. People like it. A ton of options for it. It's a 5.3, which is great. Good platform there. We know that platform is set up for a do build. And then look at the stations. 4 universal stations and 1 engineering station that is also a full intel seat. Which means this ship can easily be cannon build, easy. Can be a beam overload build. We have beam overload here. We just switch this over to like override subsystems or something else, or another uncon proc. Or it could be a surgical strike ship. We just run this, switch this over to something like Tech Pattern Beta 2, and then add in something here that we like. And so the versatility of this ship is where I think it gets a little up on the the Hydra. Hydra still has the full package. It's still got everything. It's got trade, console, and platform. This one's got a great platform and okay on the other two. The versatility of the platform, though, is really, really nice. So we're going to make this a beam overload build. So in a beam overload build, we would probably want to switch this out. All right, I'm going to use... Oh. Have to pick... Or we could just grab any uncon proc. There's another uncon proc. We're good. And we'll keep it beam overload. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 uncon procs on this ship. Not bad. 9's the best. I think 9's the best. But 7's not bad. I mean, we can live with 7. Let's Okay. So we know we're going to want to use our emergency weapon cycle. We know we're going to want to use what the beam extender that we just got. Where to find it here? Super weapon integrity, which gives us that 5 seconds on to beam overload. Now we want to look at some other stuff. Obviously, I'm going to try to stay away from the legendary stuff. Most of these. Universal designs would be great, especially with all the uncon procs, but that is a box ship. Enemies is not us. Box ship. So, we are going to have to get a little bit more interesting. We're going beam overload, so now the cannons get all the stuff. Supercharged weapons. A very good one. We do want more haste because beam overload gives us, you know, a ton of extra damage, but slow fire rate. So we're going to be looking at things that increase our haste. There's going to be a couple here. Armor ferocity is always good, although, again, this is just damage, not haste. Eventual targeting is also not bad. All you gotta do is throw a scatter volley on there. Now, every 30 seconds, you're getting 100% to your beam overload. Bad deal. Might actually be worth looking at. I do like the improved gravity well. What this does is it increases your gravity well by 20 seconds and reduces its recharge. Which means you're always going to have a gravity well up. Since we're going to be using phasers, go ahead and add that one in there. Heart of Soul. Since we are using activating beam overload, will give us extra damage based off of how close we are to the targets. Most of the time it's 10% damage, sometimes it's 50%, depending on how close you are. Nice thing is you also get the increased speed. One that's interesting. Fortunately, this comes off the World Wake, so we can't run this one. This is broken right now. Let everybody know. This trade is busted, and we are hoping that a fix will come before the storms. Always nice. There's that one from Celsius 2. But I think this works. Couple, just a couple here, and nothing too big. Unfortunately, like some of the better stuff is obviously off of the lockbox. But honestly, we could probably just go just these two, and we're gonna keep our two beams and pretty much everything else the same. Our big three, unconventional systems, formula effect, good day to die. You can also pick up like a Terran targeting system, intelligence at off of the auction house. This also comes off the auction. So there's some decent ones there. By now you should have your reputation up running. So I'm going to use Tyler's crit chance, crit severity, more hull capacity. I remember me. I like survivability. I play a lot of solo stuff, so survivability is very important to me. And then this one, which your outgoing damage also heals you. So I like using this because of the fact that I use whole image refractors a lot. This gives me a lot of extra temporary hit points. And then for our big, big shields, taunts them away, gives us an escape, and then just some basic damage. Problem is the other options are just not as good. So we use for our damage. So we're not going to use the console. We are definitely going to use the Lorca's console. So we're going to do beam overload. This is a very nimble ship. It's actually, honestly, more nimble than most Miranda classes. So I think we're going to do dual beam banks up front. Now, let's take a look here. That's the Destructor version. Where's the number? Phaser. For torpedo, we might as well use Lorca one. This does give us the 3-piece bonus, which isn't that important. 2-piece, super great. Increase severity. 4-piece, just gives you a little extra torpedoes. Alright. So now we're on phasers, so now one of the phasers that I like to run no matter what, I know it's not a dual beam bank, but honestly it puts out as much damage. That's the Terran Task Force phaser beam. You will get this at tier 6 of Task Force. And then usually I grab a couple of these. Now, if we were doing a surgical strikes build, because with surgical strikes, the nice thing about surgical strikes is you can mix and match cannons and beams. If we were doing a surgical strikes, we would go with the White Arc, and we would go with the Terran Task Force dual cannons. But we're not doing a strikes build, so just take a quick look here. Weapon amplification, so that's going to increase our crit severity. So we can go with these, or you can even go with these pulse phasers. I usually go with pulse phasers because I like the look of them. They have like an original POS look to them when they fire. For our aft, obviously going to go with the trilithium for the haste. And we just need another Omni. I use a pulse one. You obviously a crafted one works fine. And then you can grab whatever you want here. You could go with like the board cutting beam. And a lot of people do. It's not bad. I usually just throw on the other trilithium. Don't care enough. But I think for this, we will just throw the board. It's a kinetic damage beam, so it's not affected by your phaser plus phaser damage, but it is still a beam, so it is affected by beam stuff. So a lot of times that's going to be fine. Plus, honestly, in the beginning here, you're probably going to run the 2-piece, which gives your Borg chance reduce damage and reduce weapon cost. Most likely, you're going to be running the assimilated console there, because it's a nice easy console. Gives you crit chance, crit survive, crit damage, weapon power setting, a little bit of control for your gravity well, and now it unlocks that 2-piece set, which is not too bad. So then we're probably going to grab the 2-piece from here. That should be this. Gives more survivability and power transfer rate. And then the 2-piece offers us more fire cycle haste. Now, if you have it, you definitely would look at like the DPRM, which comes off of the Atlas Dreadnought, which we will be doing a video for, because the ship is not as bad as people say. A lot of people just buy the ship for the DPRM, and I get it. I bought the ship just for the DPRM. But the ship is not bad either, and it's a beautiful ship. So we will be doing a video on that at some point. You could go with the Domino if you have the event ship. Unfortunately, with my budget builds, I do not like doing any event ships. Even the Domino, which you can get out of the Phoenix prize box. Let's put it this way. I have opened about 1,200 Phoenix prize boxes in the last 2 weeks, and I have not gotten a epic token yet. So that tells you how hard they are. And I mean, talking at this point, I'm hitting the pity level. And I mean, like if you were just to buy that dilithium, you're looking at $200-300. So this might be more expensive than the DPRM in the long run, depending on your luck. If your luck's anything like mine, Murphy's Law kind of hits me pretty hard. Okay, so we're not going to use them, but those are very good options. This is the Lobi console. This one is one that I would consider using. I think it is the best 200 Lobi you'll ever spend. A couple other ones that we unfortunately can't use or wouldn't use. This comes off of the Excelsior that we were looking at. This is probably the most damaging console we could add on, but trying to stay in the budget, so we're not going to use that. We will use the Voldwar console for survivability, and I like to pair that with its partner. You have to be careful. Notice this one doesn't show it being paired. This one does. So even though they're the exact same console, they have different set. What does this set give us? set is going to give us 25% weapon power cost and +5 power setting. And a little less drain on our weapons, too. Drain resistance. Honestly, very good. If we wanted to, we could add the other one, go for the third, but the other item is pretty terrible. Then, of course, we're going to go with our phaser colony consoles. And got those colony consoles. We definitely want to go with our whole image refractors. A couple other big notorious ones. So the immolating phaser lance, one of the highest damaging console attacks that you can get. Super good. Fortunately, it's on a lockbox ship, so we won't be using it. But definitely a very good console to get. Another instance of where the console is probably better than the platform, although don't get me wrong, the Deimos Pilot Raider is actually a really good ship too. Other things we can look at here is we could go with this, which does come off of a Seesaw ship. Has good inertia, better flight rating, and gives you a chance to do AoE damage on single target damage, which in beam overload, everything's single target. Allows our weapons to become AoE. So we definitely want to think about that one. The M6 computer we will definitely be using. Comes off of like the tier 3 temporal escort, which you can buy for dilithium. So we got one spot left. Other ones that would be very useful to look at would be like, fortunately, the Prior's World satellite event item, but it's very good. It has a pole and reduced weapon cost. Let's take a look here. We could use the net drones that came with this. Does give some crit severity, crit chance, and gives us a decent cookie. We could use the torpedo point defense system off of the like tier 3 or tier 4 Kira. Not a bad choice there. In fact, I think either use or does give us more phaser damage, but nothing else that's really. If that's the case, there's plenty of other things to grab that give phaser damage. Could look at this again, which gives us this one, which gives us whole healing, extra haste and damage, and unkillable. We did use it in the last video, so it is a console that you probably have if you picked up that Da Vinci. And then still gives us a get out of jail card, I think. Go with devices, go with whatever works. I mean, you should have a red matter. Probably have a couple of you. Definitely want to pick up that, and probably a beam fire. I mean, obviously, if you have the Kobayashi Maru, grab it. But good, obviously. Okay, so now that we got a chance to get our reputation up, I'm actually going to go with the Discovery Legends deflector dish instead of the Colony deflector dish. And the reason why is because the Fleet deflector dish does give us more crit severity, crit chance, hull capacity, and weapon specialization. It gives us a lot of boost there. Where this one just gives us some hull restoration and a good amount of hull capacity. So a little bit more defensive stuff. But the reason why is because we're definitely going to run the warp core and shield. And the shield is again, we're going to run the shield because Your weapon attacks cause enemy shields to receive 10% increased damage for 10 seconds. It's super good. It also has hull capacity built into it. And then if we look at the more details, the set 2 bonus is huge. That's a lot of hull regeneration, gives us a lot more survivability. And the level 3 is the mycelial lightning. Your first weapon attack against each target fires a bolt that deals some electrical damage, and with your maximum hull. We're probably going to be close to maximum hull, so this is going to do quite a bit of damage. And then, of course, for the maneuverability, we're going to go with the prevailing impulse engine. Now, we could go for the 4 set, which is okay. It gives you a clicky 1-minute recharge, does some kinetic damage, divide targets hit, each target hit, grants an unlimited buff of, maximum hull. It's not bad. Like, it's definitely, like, if you are worried about survivability, you are finding yourself dying, because maybe you don't have all these at, epic. Maybe you could only get them to 14 or 15. Maybe you don't have these colony consoles yet, so your survivability is a little lower. And yeah, you could switch this out, switch your mobility for more defense. It's not gonna you're not gonna suffer too much for it. And most important thing is living. Cannot do damage if you are waiting to respawn. Your damage is based off of how long you're staying, in one piece. So, but I'm gonna use these because I'm fairly confident in my ability to stay alive. Alright, traits, we went over traits. Went over our stations here. I do want to take a look here real quick. And now, so, you ever want to know what else they can do? So you can click on your person, and you can see all of the ones that we don't have. So I could get this probe 2 instead of using, or probe 3, put that there. Take this one and switch it out for, like, turbulence here, or even the impulse viral burst. Like, let's do that. Let's get one more uncon proc, or not one more, but let's change this uncon proc. So we want probe 3, we want viral burst 3, and we'll keep the iconic turbulence 2 there. So let's go run over there and buy them real quick. So, best way to buy those kind of things: training manuals, intelligence. Now we know the first one we want is that probe 3, so we're just going to type in probe. We're going to set it to very rare. Now we know the next one we want is in the rare slot. And there's viral burst. So you can tell if it's blue, it's a rare. So it allows you to be able to search a little easier on the exchange there. Just a little friendly tip. Now, of course, we grab them now out of the mailbox because they decided to go back to the old way of doing it. That's not how it used to. Or that's how it used to work in the very, very beginning. The reason why we want something other than this one, now this is a control effect, but it has a long cooldown. Got a 40-second cooldown. So if we could switch that over for the probe, we can't have both probes, so we want something else here. So we still got 3 uncon procs there, but It's a little first is a little better. Save that. Okay. Go up and do a patrol.
Looks like our fight got them to notice us. Let's go over and ask if their boss might come out of hiding. Concentrating fire on individual ships. Separate them and whittle down their numbers. We will not go quietly. Sensors are picking up small habitations in some of the asteroids, possibly consistent with bolt holes, temporary hideouts. Where we want. Up a tight beam transmission on a new frequency. We're jamming that spectrum of their comms now, but it was probably a call for assistance. got this. Excellent work. We'll send over a pacification party, take the suspect into custody. Thank you for your assistance, and welcome to this sector. We have the